What's your personal visceral reaction to everything you've seen over the past several days?
It's so hard to put into words how you feel when you're a person who walks around this country with brown skin, no matter what your economic status. You know you're Black, first and foremost, and I always feel that wherever I go. I have to say there's a despair and sadness and certainly a level of anger, and I'm horrified. I watched someone be murdered over 8.5 minutes, murdered, not die, not killed, murdered. And to watch something like that is, you never forget. It's chilling, but we've seen it over and over and over again, and that's the problem. We know all the names: Freddie Gray, Trayvon Martin, Philando Castile, Breonna Taylor. I mean, we could go on and on. In our community, we know those names. And we know that it could be us. And I know that sounds dramatic, but it's actually true.
So Mellody, you know, you're on the boards of some of America's most important companies. You are a large investor. What do you think that business can and should do? We've heard a lot from a number of leaders this morning, a number of leaders who put out statements over the weekend. We just heard from Ken Frazier earlier. What do you think the business community should be doing?
Well, I've talked about this a lot. And Andrew, you know, I did a speech at DealBook where I said I was waiting for a corporate Kaepernick in reference to Colin Kaepernick and what he gave up for his beliefs, peacefully protesting the death of Black people in America unlawfully. I have to say that corporate America talk is cheap. You know, I've talked about the fact that, say, we're working on diversity in a company is unacceptable to me. Because in corporate America, we don't work on anything else. We don't work on improving our earnings. We don't work on meeting our product deadlines or for our product launch. You either do or do not, as my husband, boldly wrote about Yoda. There is no try. And if you don't get it done, you get fired. But when it comes to diversity, for whatever reason, this has been this ongoing struggle where we can't move the needle. I love the saying, math has no opinion, none. Just count. And when you count and you see at the highest levels of corporate America, all the way down the chain, the differences in the numbers and how people of color, Black and brown Americans, underrepresented minorities do not show up in the numbers that we exist in this country, that is not acceptable. And so what must we do? Hold ourselves accountable in corporate America. Set targets like we set targets on everything else. Incentivize people. You get what you incent. Be very clear and very bold about what the expectations are. And if we do that like we do everything else, I mean, corporate America is run by all-stars. They are used to winning. If we do that like we do everything else, we would see this needle move. Because so much of this unrest, this civil unrest, is tied to economic inequality. That's just a fact. And we need to move the needle on this economic inequality.